Alrighty, so first thing I did, jack the car up, put on jack stands on both sides just so it's evenly supported, it's not teeter-tottering or anything. And I actually just went and bought the socket, or actually no, before that there's a little cotter pin just like this that goes in here. As you can actually, let me zoom in on that, or focus. This cotter pin goes in here, and it's like it goes through, and then they bend these ends over. So just unbend it and try to get it out straight so you can just get it out easily. If not, you can always just cut it and then take the bolt out over it. So what I'm gonna do right now is just get this big old socket here, get a breaker bar, try and actually no, I think I have to put the wheel back on. Fuck. But yeah, I'm just gonna try and break this through. Alrighty, so I already got the wheel back on because I do need the wheel on in order to take off this nut, the axle nut. One little thing you gotta know is in order to access this nut, usually wheels, whether it's stock or aftermarket like this, have this little thing you have to pop off. So one easy way to do it is, since I already had my wheel off, just go inside of the wheel and just tap it out, and it usually comes right out. You might need to give it a little love, but it'll come right out. So right now I'm just gonna put the wheel back on the floor so that when I try to spin the nut, it won't spin the wheel. And yeah, I'll be right back with that. Alright, so now in order to get this nut loose, you're gonna need a lot of persuasion, and I am not kidding. So there we go. And one other thing that I didn't mention, you can always use WD-40 to get this loose. Alright, now gotta jack it back up and put it on a jack stand again. Alright, so now what we gotta do is get this ball joint here out of place. So in order to do this, you just have to take off this little cotter pin up here and take off this nut, and then you can just, it might be like stuck in place for a little bit. All you gotta do is just kind of bang on it, and then you can take the lower control arm out of here. So I'm gonna go ahead and do just that. There we go. Alright, so we got Alright, so we got the cotter pin out. Now we just gotta get that loose, and just like the axle nut, this bolt should be pretty damn tight since it's a suspension part. So be prepared to use a lot of force, basically. Be safe, as always. I just had the weirdest thing happen to me. I was running around because I couldn't find a socket that was big enough to fit this bolt. You see, this is the biggest one that's in my tool set, and the biggest in metric is like 18 millimeters, which does not fit. So I had this adjustable wrench here, and I just kind of was trying to get it, and I just pulled and the wrench slipped and I hit my hand on the rotor, but that's fine. I mean, hand's fine, I'm wearing gloves. But then I touched it and it actually loosened it somehow. So I just got so lucky, but I know that in order to tighten it down properly, I'm gonna need the right socket. So I'll probably go to the store and pick that up real quick before I finish. I have my car to drive with, so I'm chilling. But yeah, so get that loose, take it out, and then you can get the control arm off of it. Alright, so I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna only hit the knuckle here. Yeah, that's what it's called, right? Yeah, just the knuckle, not the control arm or the bolt or the bushing, or not the bushing, the boot. Just this part right here, and that's just so it'll break up inside and I can pull this out. I mean, I can probably, if I tried hard enough, I probably could, but just to make it a little easier, I'm just gonna hit it with a hammer. There you go. So just loosens it up inside enough just so you can pry it open. Let me see. I'll take this off completely. And we can hopefully get the control arm out of here. I just can't get a comfortable angle on it. There we go. You see? And I'm gonna put this right back on so I don't lose it. And I'm just gonna do a little something like that. And so, alrighty, so here I just want to show you guys why I'm replacing this. So the CV axle went out, or the rubber boot just split open in here, and it's been flinging grease and all this crap around everywhere. I don't know if you can see it. It doesn't look, well, I mean, I cleaned it up the other day when I looked at the car. Actually, I know one spot where you can't see it. Hold up. So like, it's kind of hard for you to see, but like in here it flinged it everywhere, and I'm pretty sure up there as well. So there's just grease everywhere, and that joint is no bueno anymore. It clunks when you drive, and it vibrates at certain speeds, and it's just not good anymore. So that is why we're replacing this. Alright, so now in order to get the axle outside of the hub, I just went ahead and screwed this axle nut back on. I'm going to put a towel on it just to kind of protect the metal from deforming in any way. I'm just going to go ahead, try and tap it out of there, or at least get it loose. So got some cloth stuck in there. You see? Yep, there we go. Nice and loose now. Got so much shit everywhere, it's hard to move around. Let me see. And there we go. Now it's nice and out. We can go ahead and release it from the inside, or the transmission. Alright, so now we just gotta disconnect the axle from the transmission itself. One small mediocre tip: put a drain pan under where you're gonna disconnect it, because transmission fluid, there's a really good chance that it's going to spill just a little bit. And then what you want to do is, I don't know how I'm gonna go ahead and get this. Oh, and whenever you're under a car, wear safety goggles. I couldn't find mine, but I found some computer glasses that I used to use, so I'm gonna go ahead and use that. So can't find a good place to get in through here, but let me see. Alrighty, so the CV axle is all out, and I didn't show myself taking it out because it took me about an hour and a half, and I am not even exaggerating right now. Let's see. So the problem I had is, so when I tried inking on this, it just came out, which isn't necessarily surprising because the only thing holding it on was a tiny bit of rubber that was still good. But so this whole assembly came off, and so all that was stuck on the transmission was this part, which kind of sucked because there was no way that I could like get enough leverage to grab it and pull it out. And whenever I tried I couldn't get enough space to get a good enough tool to get leverage to pry it out. So I ended up just grabbing a hammer, grabbing the back end of it. Let me see. Let me show you this hammer here. And this was like a just last second type of thing where I was just like, let's try this, might as well. So what I did is I came in here, I grabbed this, I just grabbed the handle and just pulled as hard as I could, and luckily it came out. And now I'm just sitting here kind of measuring them up, the new one and the old one. They look pretty good. It's kind of hard to tell exactly how big this one was because, you know, they're in two separate little things. But yeah, I think it looks good enough. And at one point I even tried, I made this little wire thing I put in through here, and I just tried pulling on it, and every time I would do that it would break on this end. I would just tie this end to the same hammer and just yank it as hard as I could, but the wire kept breaking, so that didn't work. But what's important, I got it off. Now gotta put it back in. Alright, so I'm just gonna go ahead and put new axle in. So let's see, let me get a good body positioning in here. Let's see, let's try and maneuver that in. Oh, I'm gonna need to move the camera. I actually have the camera set up on the wheel hub assembly, or the brake rotor actually. So if I move the wheel, camera moves. Kind of cool how that works. Wheel cam, let's call it. And I got lucky, no transmission fluid actually came out of the transmission, so that was fun. Oh no, don't do that. Don't do that. You don't want that. Oh. There we go. Alright, and now we just gotta get it into the wheel hub, or the wheel bearing, or you know what, I'm just gonna stop saying terms. Get the thing in the hole. There we go. So get it, the splines to line up. Oh, there we go. There we go. It's nice and in there. Now I just I don't know if you can see, probably not actually, but I just went ahead and put the lower control arm back into place as well, or the lower ball joint. I'm just gonna try, can't straighten the wheel because I'm weak. Alright. Alright, so now I'm gonna go ahead and put the lower control or lower ball joint nut back in. And if you remember correctly, I don't have the right or correct size tool to tighten this. So I might just tighten it as much as I can for now and then come back later and get it really, really nice and tight, or I'll try to I'll find a way to get it tight. Don't even worry. Let me see, for now probably just use this guy. Yeah, so no, god damn it. Tighten. Man, I fucking hate these things. Don't use adjustable wrenches if you don't have to. Please save yourself the fucking hassle. There we go. At least it's tightening. Whew. And working on your car is quite the workout, so if you're trying to lose some weight or get some muscle on you, this helps. So now I'm just putting the cotter pin back in, and you're not going to get ripped, but it's better than nothing. It's better than being inside all day doing, well, like I said, doing nothing. Alright, just try to get that through. And I'm reusing these. I'm going to reuse both of the cotter pins that I removed, simply because, I mean, they're perfectly fine. I don't see anything wrong with them, so we're chilling. Alright, so now what I gotta do, come on this side, and well, I want to twist it first of all, personally, and then I'm going to go ahead and bend these. I said that as if I was asking a question, but I ain't asking nothing. There we go. Man, this stuff looks so much easier in the videos, but when you actually do it, it's quite different. Like I watch people bend cotter pins all the time, but and I'm always like, man, why are they taking so long? Well, now I see why. Hold up, let me see. It's hard to invert it like that. That's good enough there. You just basically want it so that the cotter pin won't move. That way the nut can't come loose. So on to the next one. Alrighty, and so this is the axle nut or spindle nut for the old axle. This is the new one, and this is a little castle nut, which makes sense because, or that's what I'm used to seeing. The first problem I saw with this though, or at least I thought, was that it was smaller, which would suck because I just spent $5 on this just to remove this, just to do this installation. But then I went back and checked it, and it fits up just fine. So same size, it just looks smaller because it doesn't have this little flat part in the bottom. Forget what it's called. So now, just gonna screw it in. trying to get it in as... What? Why am I struggling? Why am I struggling when I can just... There we go. And now we just need the cotter pin, which I forgot where it is. I'll be right back. Alrighty, so not only did I find the cotter pin, but I started installing it. So there we go. Now I'm just gonna... Why am I holding it?
Me. I legit have a tripod in my hand and I'm just standing there holding it. There we go.
So just go ahead and grab this guy and bend it. Or at least try to. It's a pretty hefty pin there. Let's see. There we go. So that is not going anywhere. At least I don't think so. Actually, I might have to take that out. You know what? I'm just gonna take that out to be 100% sure. Alrighty, so one little thing I am about to do right now is got a little bit of brake clean here, some paper towels. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna spray the paper towel with brake clean and just kind of clean up the brake rotor, because I know that at a couple points today with my greasy ass hands I went ahead and touched it, whether I had to move it or just touch it for whatever reason. I did touch it a couple of times, so I just don't want there to be any grease or oil or whatever it is on there. So just gonna go ahead and do that real quick. There we go. Alrighty, so I went ahead and took the cotter pin out just because I want to put that on once it's fully tightened on the axle nut or spindle nut, whatever you want to call it. And I went ahead and tightened everything else down that I loosened today to make sure there's no problems. So what I'm gonna do now is put the wheel back on it, put it on the floor, tighten down the axle nut to spec, which is 160 foot-pounds to 200 foot-pounds of torque, which I don't have a torque wrench that reads that high, so I'm basically just gonna get as tight as I possibly can with my body weight. And then once we do that, we'll go ahead and put the cotter pin, lower the car down, and well, I mean, by that point it'll already be lowered down, but yeah, once we do that, we're pretty much done. Install's complete. Car should be good.